Hello friends, good afternoon. Am I audible and visible? Yes friends, good afternoon. Am I audible and visible? Somebody please ping me so that I can begin with today's session. Yes guys. Am I audible and visible properly? Yes, somebody please ping me so that I can begin with the session today. Yes guys, somebody please ping me so that I can begin with today's session. Yes, Shweta, good afternoon. Okay. Thanks, Banuto. So guys, today we are going to discuss important governor generals, correct? In the previous class, we had discussed about the advent of Europeans in India. So who were the first Europeans to come in India? It was Portuguese who came first, followed by Dutch East India Company, and now comes English East India Company. We had seen the basics previously. Okay? Now, let's understand about the important governor generals. And last time I had given you the example that what kind of questions can crop up in the examination. Correct? Like who was the first Governor General of India? Who was the first Governor General of Bengal? Now let me give you a brief description about this for your easier understanding. Okay? Guys, as discussed earlier, English East India Company, it's a joint stock company. It's a shareholders company. Isn't that so? And 125 shareholders were present initially in the English East India Company. And these 125 shareholders are referred as court of proprietors. Now, these 125 shareholders among themselves will choose someone who will make rules and regulations for the company. And they elect among themselves 24 who will frame the rules and regulation. And these 24 are referred as court of directors. Okay? Then, there were three major presidencies of English East India Company. The first presidency being, there were three major presidency. The first one being Bombay, Madras and Bengal. And to take care of the administration of these presidencies, there were respective governors for these presidencies. True? Like, there was a governor of Bombay and was designated as governor of Bombay. There was governor of Madras and was designated as governor of Madras. But governor of Bengal was designated as... Just a second. Hello friends, good evening. Am I audible and visible? Yes, somebody please ping me. Am I audible and visible so that I can pick it with the... Ravi? Just a second guys. A bit of technical glitch. आवाज आ रही है पीछे. So, prior to this, yes. Okay. So, I'm really sorry guys for the technical glitch. I'm really sorry for this. Coming back here. So, there were three major presidencies. One was Bombay Presidency, Madras Presidency and Bengal Presidency. And there were respective governors for every presidency. Like, there was Governor of Bombay, there was Governor of Madras, but the Governor of Bengal was designated as Governor General of Bengal. Correct? And Governor of Bombay and Madras were subordinated to Governor General of Bengal. Got it? Now, Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of Bengal. Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of Bengal. In the coming years, after Charter Act 1833, Governor General of Bengal would be designated as Governor General of India. Correct? And the first Governor General of India was Lord William Bentinck. Moving ahead. Now, in 1858, the rule of company in India will end. And the rule of company in India would be followed by the rule of British Crown. So what will happen? The power would be transferred from whom? The English East India Company to the British Crown. And from now onwards, the Governor General of India would be designated as Viceroy of India. The last Governor General and the first Viceroy of India was Lord Canning. So in today's session, we are going to briefly discuss about the important Governor Generals. Okay, guys? And questions do crop up in the examination on these various Governor Generals. So please have a pen and paper along with you so that you can note down important points. Okay, guys? Without wasting any more time, let's begin with the important Governor Generals. The first Governor General of Bengal was Lord Warren Hastings. Okay. Now, please pay attention carefully. In the end, I would be telling you what points need to be noted down. Here, we are going to discuss about the important points. Okay. Yes, guys, any query, any question? Pawan, good afternoon. Nyam, good afternoon. Okay. Warren Hastings, he was the first Governor General of Bengal. And before becoming the Governor General, Warren Hastings, he served the company for 23 years as a clerk. So initially he was a clerk and later on he became the Governor General of Bengal. Okay. Now, after becoming Governor General, the first thing that he do was he ended the dual system that was initiated by Robert Clive. Now, what is dual system? Who was Robert Clive? Let's have a look at this. As I've told you, there were three presidencies: Bombay, Bengal and Madras. And in the region of Bengal, there was a fort which is referred as Fort William. And Fort William was the epicenter of economic activities of English East India Company in the region of Bengal. So the first governor of Fort William was Robert Clive. My friends, please do not get confused. I've used the words first governor of Fort William. So the first governor of Fort William was Robert Clive. Okay. Now, he was the first governor of Fort William. Now he had started dual system. Now what is dual system all about? Let's understand this with the help of a very simple example. Suppose I'm a representative of English East India Company. English East India Company has followed a policy of imperialism. Simple words, they have followed a policy of expansion. They are continuously expanding their territories. Now, since these people are continuously expanding their territories, now I have conquered a particular territory. Now what will happen? I'll ask the ruler of that territory to take care of the administration of that territory. And the revenue or the entire expenses of that territory would be taken care of by the English East India Company. Simple words, English East India Company now had finances in their hand. And the ruler had what? Basically if you see, the ruler had what in his hand? The administration. Now English East India Company had all the powers with no responsibilities, and the ruler has no powers with all the responsibility. So this is referred as dual system. And this dual system was initiated by Robert Clive. As soon as Warren Hastings became the Governor General, he immediately abolished the dual system. Another important thing that Warren Hastings did. Warren Hastings created a civil court and a criminal court. The civil court was referred as Sadar Diwani Adalat, whereas the criminal court was referred as Sadar Nizamat Adalat. Apart from this, Warren Hastings came up with a uniform tariff of 2.5%. Now, what is uniform tariff of 2.5%? Simple words, for example, if anything is exported out of India, you have to pay a tax of 2.5%. If something is imported into India, tax of 2.5%. So, uniform tariff of 2.5% was being initiated by Warren Hastings. Okay. Now, there were different battles, there were different wars that were fought at the time of Warren Hastings. For now, just remember the name of the battles, because we have a separate chapter or we have a separate session on different battles and treaties. So, Second Anglo-Mysore War took place during the tenure of Warren Hastings. Apart from this, if you observe, Anglo-Maratha War took place during the time of Warren Hastings. And the first Anglo-Rohilla War, very important one, took place during the, what we say, tenure of Warren Hastings. First Anglo-Rohilla War actually became the reason for impeachment of Warren Hastings. Warren Hastings is the only Governor General to be impeached, which basically means that he was removed from the post. He was terminated from this post. And why he was terminated from this post? The basic reason for this was First Anglo-Rohilla War. Now, what is this war all about? Correct? Now, let's explore about this war. Just give me a second. Pay attention carefully. Rohillas, majorly, they were a part of they were part in the region of India and Afghanistan. Okay. Now, Rohillas, they had a very good stature. This included Sheikh, Pathan, Pashtun. And now, they became the commanders, or they became the army commanders in the army of Mughals. With the passage of time, the power of Mughals started declining. And when the power of Mughals started declining, because Mughals were not only fighting with the Britishers at that time, Mughals were also fighting with the Marathas. So the power of the Mughals started declining. And when the power of Mughals started declining, these Rohillas declared themselves as independent. We do not know who Mughals are. And they got settled in southern and western part of Uttar Pradesh. So the southern and the western part of Uttar Pradesh is referred as Rohilkhand. Correct? They got settled in southern and western part of UP. Now what happened? At that time, Marathas wanted to take revenge from the Rohillas. Why Marathas wanted to take revenge from the Rohillas? Because Marathas knew that the basic thing why Mughals has risen to the power, one of the reason was Rohilla. And now, once and for all, Marathas wanted to destroy the Rohillas. Now Rohillas knew that they cannot alone fight Marathas. So, the neighbor of Rohillas was Awadh. Pay attention carefully, a very important concept. Neighbor of Rohillas was Awadh. Now Rohillas sought help from Awadh. And at that time, Nawab of Awadh was Shuja-ud-Dawla. He asked Rohillas, why should I help you against Marathas? And secondly, what would I get back in return for helping you? So in that case, Rohillas said, what do you want in return? Shuja-ud-Dawla said, I want 40 lakh rupees in return. Rohillas said, okay, we'll give you 40 lakh rupees, or we'll give you lump sum amount. This was accepted. The battle was fought. On one side, there were Marathas. On the other side, there was a combined army of Nawab of Awadh and the Rohillas. And in this battle, Nawab of Awadh and Rohillas, they emerged victorious. Okay. Now the time has come. The Nawab of Awadh, Shuja-ud-Dawla, asked the Rohillas that you had promised us to give 40 lakh rupees or lump sum compensation or the money. Give us the money now. Now this Rohillas, they said that we don't have money and we are not going to pay you even a single penny. Okay. Now the Nawab of Awadh, he got infuriated, he got angry that you have promised to pay us the money, but you are not paying the money to us now. So what happened? These people, Rohillas, were confident that we are not capable of defeating the Marathas, but we are quite capable of defeating the Awadh. So they denied paying the money. Shuja-ud-Dawla, he had no option. He went to the Governor General of Bengal at that time, whose name was Warren Hastings. Please listen properly, guys. Very interesting one. He went to Warren Hastings and sought help against Marathas. Warren Hastings asked the same question to Shujauddaulah. Why should I help you against the Rohillas? He said, for helping against the Rohillas, we will be giving you 40 lakh rupees. And secondly, as an English East India company, they are following a policy of imperialism, expansionism. You would be conquering the territories of Rohilla. Warren Hastings diplomatically thought one thing. And what was that? First thing, since English East India Company was following the policy of expansionism, I am increasing the territories of the company. So the company would be happy for this, first thing. Secondly, this person, Awadh or the Nawab of Awadh, he is not competent enough to defeat the Rohillas. And once I occupy the region of Rohillas, with the passage of time, I will also occupy the region of Awadh. Second thing. And for doing all these things, I have got 40 lakh rupees. Who knows about this? Correct? And this is referred as First Anglo-Rohilla War, wherein Warren Hastings was involved in corruption of 40 lakh rupees. Now, how this corruption was highlighted? Okay, let's understand. There was a person whose name was Nand Kumar. He was a clerk for the company. And by mistake, it is believed that there was some sort of mistake of 100 rupees in the accounts. There was a person whose name was Nand Kumar, and it is believed that there was a small mistake of rupees 100 in the accounts. This person, Nand Kumar, was charged on forgery and he was sentenced to death by Warren Hastings. And when British Parliament came to know about this, that just for rupees 100, this person, Nand Kumar, has been sentenced for death, the entire 40 lakh rupees scam came to the fore. At that time, Warren Hastings became the first Governor General to be impeached. It simply means that he was terminated from the post of Governor General. Okay. Another important fact that we need to remember, Pitt's India Act 1784 came during the time of Warren Hastings. Regulating Act 1773 came during the time of Warren Hastings. We will see all these charter acts in a separate chapter. That is important Charter Act. So please do not worry about this. Okay. And finally, Bhagavad Gita was translated into English by Sir Charles Wilkin. Okay. And this was translated during the tenure of Warren Hastings. Got the points clear? Apart from this, he established Asiatic Society of Calcutta, also referred as Asiatic Society of Bengal. So this was done by whom? Warren Hastings. Okay guys, please note down few important points. I'll go for the crux of this because, see guys, the most important aspect that we need to remember, in the end, what is important? In the end, the points are important. So that's why in the start of the session itself, I've said you please keep on noting down the important points. Okay. So please note down, Warren Hastings, before becoming the Governor General, he served the company as a clerk for 23 years. First thing. Second thing, apart from this, he ended the dual system that was initiated by Robert Clive. He started civil court and criminal court. Civil court was called as Sadr Diwani Adalat. Criminal court was Sadr Nizamat Adalat. He imposed a uniform tariff of 2.5%. Apart from this, Anglo-Maratha War, First Anglo-Rohilla War and Anglo-Mysore War took place during his tenure. Apart from this, Warren Hastings, Bhagavad Gita was translated into English by Sir Charles Wilkin during the tenure of Lord Warren Hastings. He is the only Governor General to be impeached. And the last 2 points, the major act that were passed during the time of Warren Hastings was Pitt's India Act 1784 and Regulating Act 1773. Clear till here guys? Any query, any doubt, any sort of question, please feel free to ask. Yes, Ajit Kumar ji, you can ask me any question if you have any doubt. Okay guys, so now let's discuss Please keep the session interactive, guys. If you have any doubt, you can immediately stop me and ask me a question. Okay? Now let's speak about another important Governor General whose name was Lord Cornwallis. When the question Lord Cornwallis comes, guys, what is the first thing that crop up your mind? Yes, guys. The first thing that actually should crop up your mind is he is referred as father of civil services in India because he initiated the civil services. Okay. So now let's throw light on another important Governor General of Bengal whose name was Lord Cornwallis. Okay. Pay attention carefully. We are going to discuss important things now. Pawan, I'll answer you what is dual government. Now, dual government, I'll repeat in short. Dual government basically means, suppose as a representative of English East India Company, I have defeated a particular ruler. I have conquered his territory. Now, what will I do? I'll manage the entire finances and I'll ask the ruler to manage the administration of that place. So, this is called as dual governance. Okay. And this dual governance system was started by Robert Clive. When Warren Hastings, he became the Governor General, he completely abolished dual governance. Okay. So this is nothing but dual government. Hope so, Pawan, I have answered your question. Okay. Now moving ahead. Lord Cornwallis, pay attention. Lord Cornwallis, he is also referred as blue-blooded aristocrat. And what is the meaning of the word blue-blooded aristocrat? Blue-blooded aristocrat basically means he belonged to the royal family. Hence, he is referred as blue-blooded aristocrat. He is the only Governor General to die in India. And his tomb is located at a place called as Ghazipur in Uttar Pradesh. He was Governor General for 2 tenures, 1786 to 1793 and 1805 onwards. Okay. Now, what do you need to remember about Lord Cornwallis? Lord Cornwallis started Zamindari system of land revenue. What is Zamindari system of land revenue? Let's understand. There were 3 major systems of land revenue that was being implemented by different Governor Generals. One system was Zamindari system or permanent settlement. Now, what is Zamindari system or permanent settlement? Let's understand in short. English East India Company directly did not collect the tax from the peasants. What did English East India Company do? The company appointed Zamindar as a middleman. What will this Zamindar do? This Zamindar will collect the tax from the peasant, keep his commission, and he will pay the rest amount of money to the English East India Company. So Zamindar is acting as a middleman between company on one side and the peasants, Kisan, the farmers on the other side. He will collect the tax from the peasants, keep his commission and give it to the company. 11% was kept by Zamindar and 89% revenue went to the company. Zamindari system is also referred as permanent settlement. Now, why this system is referred as permanent settlement? Because for next 1 decade, the taxes would be fixed. Correct? For the next 10 years, the taxes would be fixed. I'll give you a small example. Suppose I'm a peasant, I have to pay 70-80 rupees as a tax to the company. Okay? Of 70 rupees, approximately 90% or 89% goes to the company. Simply 63 rupees go to the company and 7 rupees is kept by Zamindar as his commission. As discussed, correct? That Zamindar will keep his commission of 11%, 89% goes to the company. Now I have earned rupees 100. I'll pay 70 as a tax. Next year I have earned 500 rupees. Still I have to pay 70 rupees as a tax. Why? Because for the next 1 decade, the tax slab is fixed. Hence, Zamindari system is also referred as permanent settlement. One important fact. Second, as discussed earlier, there were 3 major land revenue systems at different time. Zamindari system, Rayatwari system and Mahalwari system. Okay? Zamindari system covered least part of British India. It covered 19%, 19% of British India. 19. Okay. So it covered least part of British India. So Zamindari system was started by whom? Lord Cornwallis. First thing that you need to remember. Second thing, district collector. You might have heard about a statement by Lord Acton. What a beautiful statement that Lord Acton gave, that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. If there is more power in hands of a particular person, there is a probability that there would be misuse of that power. Isn't that so? At that time, district collector was very powerful. Why? He had dual responsibility. One was maintaining law and order in the district, and apart from collecting the taxes, and second, he was also a judge in civil cases. Immediately Montesquieu came up with the theory, immediately Cornwallis came up with the theory of Montesquieu, separation of power. Because if there is more powers in a hand of a particular person, obviously there would be misuse of that power. So what did Cornwallis do? He came up with separation of power. Collector was deprived of his judicial powers. Okay? Second thing. Third thing, Thana and Daroga system was being introduced by Lord Cornwallis. I repeat, Thana and Daroga system was introduced by Lord Cornwallis. Fourth important thing, it is believed that court fees was completely abolished by Lord Cornwallis. Correct? At that point of time, he was such a ruler, he believed that, he was such a governor general who believed that if any officer is not performing his duty in an impartial manner, immediately one can sue that officer. In fact, Cornwallis said that if somebody believes that I am not performing my duties in a very impartial manner, you can file a case against me. You can sue me. So Cornwallis completely abolished the court fees. Fourth or fifth thing that you need to remember. Apart from this, as I have told you, now think logically. English East India Company, it's a shareholders company. There are multiple shareholders in the company. And however, at that time, civil servants recruited, they were recruited on the basis of favoritism and nepotism. Suppose I'll give you an example. Suppose I am one of the shareholders of the company. I have a huge share in the company, for that sake 30 to 40%. Okay. Now if I suggest somebody that, like suppose he is my nephew, he should be made as a district collector of a particular place. So it was just on the basis of nepotism. This system was completely ended by Cornwallis. He introduced the proper process for entry into the service of the company, and that is civil services. Hence, Lord Cornwallis is also referred as father of civil services in India. Apart from this, please remember this fact. Lord Cornwallis, he laid down westernization of public services. Westernization basically means Indians were not allowed into civil service. Who laid down Indianization of public services or civil services? The Indianization of public services was laid down in the coming years by Lord William Bentinck, who was the first Governor General of India. But westernization of public service was laid down by Lord Cornwallis. Okay? So these are the major things that you guys need to remember about Cornwallis. Third Anglo-Mysore War took place during his tenure. I'll repeat the points again in short. Please pay attention carefully, guys. Lord Cornwallis is the second most important Governor General of Bengal. He had 2 tenures in India. His tomb is located at Ghazipur in Uttar Pradesh. He is referred as a blue-blooded aristocrat, which means that he belongs to the royal family. Lord Cornwallis, he came up with the theory of separation of power of Montesquieu. So, district collector was deprived of his judicial powers. He introduced a system of Thana and Daroga. He came up with proper examination of civil services. He laid down westernization of public service or civil services. Apart from this, he came up with land revenue system, which is also referred as Zamindari system or permanent settlement or Jagirdari system or Biswedari system. One and the same, known by different names in different places. Zamindari, Jagirdari, Biswedari, Istimarari, all these are the same terminology. So this system was brought by whom? Lord Cornwallis. And in Zamindari, English East India Company directly did not collect the taxes from the peasants. English East India Company appointed Zamindar, who acted as a middleman. He collected the revenue from the peasant, kept his commission and paid the excess amount to whom? The company. 89% revenue went to the company, 11% was kept by Zamindar as his commission. Correct? So this system is referred as Zamindari system, which covered 19% of British India, 19. Okay? And this was the least. This system came up during the time of Lord Cornwallis. Correct? So this is majorly about Lord Cornwallis. Hope so the points are clear, guys. Any query, any doubt, any question, please ask. Yes, please. Okay, guys. Now let's speak about Sir John Shore. Guys, you only need to remember one statement about Sir John Shore. And what is that statement? He followed the policy of neutrality. Okay. And his tenure was full of uneventful activities. In simple words, there were no major activities during the tenure of Sir John Shore. Now, what is the policy of neutrality? The policy of neutrality basically means he never majorly interfered with the regional powers in India. Like for example, Nizam and Marathas were fighting at that time. Like Marathas were not only fighting with the Britishers, Marathas were fighting with Mughals, Marathas were fighting with the Mysore Sultanate, Marathas were fighting with other, regional powers. So this person, Sir John Shore, he followed a policy of non-intervention. Simple words, he followed a policy of neutrality. Okay? Hence it is believed that his reign was full of uneventful activities. Got it? So this is majorly about Sir John Shore. Now let's speak about Lord Wellesley, very important one. Please keep on noting down things, guys. As I've told you, questions do crop up in the examination and I'll tell you what question have been asked on the Governor Generals, particularly Lord Wellesley as well. Okay? Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. As I've told you, just you need to remember the names of the battles and the wars. There's a separate section, there's a separate session that would be conducted on different battles and treaties. So Fourth Anglo-Mysore War, Second Anglo-Maratha War took place during his time. Now in Second Anglo-Maratha Wars, Marathas actually accepted the suzerainty of English East India Company. How? Like it is believed that in the region, like Maratha family was disintegrated into 5 parts. Everyone knows about this. Now Peshwas were ruling in the region of Pune. Gaikwads were ruling in the region of Baroda. Holkars in Indore. Scindias in Gwalior and Bhosles in Nagpur. Okay. During the time of Lord Wellesley, there was Second Anglo-Maratha War, wherein Scindias, Bhosles and the Peshwas revolted. It is believed that I'll give you a small example. The Peshwas, they were forced to sign a treaty with the Britishers. Okay, and that treaty was referred as Treaty of Bassein. As per this treaty, it is believed that Peshwas actually surrendered their sovereignty. How? Like, the forces of the Peshwas cannot increase by 6,000, not more than 6,000 soldiers. Apart from this, Peshwas had to give 26 lakh rupees annually as a tribute to the English East India Company, or they had to surrender such territories that will give a revenue of 26 lakh rupees annually. So in simple words, this is nothing but surrendering one's sovereignty. And Britishers were very intelligent, guys. They were very diplomatic. Okay. Now guys, please remember 2 things. Right from the start itself, I'll be using 2 words, or I'll be using 2 sentences. That is divide and rule, carrot and stick. Now what is divide and rule? I'll give you a small example. In the coming years, there would be a viceroy whose name was Lord Curzon. He divided Bengal on what pretext? He divided Bengal on the pretext that Bengal has become too big to be administered by a single viceroy. This was the agenda, or this was the objective that they showed to us. But what was their actual hidden objective? West Bengal was a Hindu majority province and East Bengal was a Muslim majority province. They actually wanted to disturb the communal harmony of the country. They wanted to divide India on communal lines. So they followed one policy, divide and rule initially. And carrot and stick policy. What is carrot and stick policy? In carrot and stick policy, a very simple example. You might have seen the monkey and the person who is showing there's a person who is controlling that monkey. So what does that person do? If a monkey performs well, he gives him carrot or something to eat. And if the monkey does not performs well, what does his master do? He beats him. This is carrot and stick policy. And this was followed by the Britishers. In 1885, when Indian National Congress was formed, I'm giving an example for making things quite easier. Okay. In 1885, when the Indian National Congress was formed, Indian National Congress was divided on ideological basis into two parts, moderates and extremists. And both had different working patterns. So what did Britishers do? If they have to suppress one section, they have to bring one section only on their side. So if they have to suppress the extremist, they have to get moderates on their side. So what did they follow? Carrot and stick policy. So hence, right from the start itself, Britishers have followed two policies, divide and rule and carrot and stick policy. And Lord Wellesley was one among them. How? The very famous system of Lord Wellesley was subsidiary alliance system. Now, what is subsidiary alliance system? Let's understand in short. Okay. Mughals are not only fighting against the Britishers. Marathas are not only fighting against the Britishers. The rulers of Mysore Sultanate are not only fighting against the Britishers. In fact, Mughals are fighting against Marathas. Mughals are fighting against English East India Company. Mughals are fighting against the Mysore Sultanate. Same with Marathas, same with Mysore Sultanate. So there was internal squabbling among the Indian rulers. And this was very closely and keenly observed by this person, Wellesley. So now what did Wellesley do? He came up with the new policy which is referred as subsidiary alliance system. Actually speaking, subsidiary alliance system is an idea of a French governor, Dupleix. Actually, it is his idea, but he adopted this, Wellesley. Now, what is this system? In this system, Britishers were called the paramount power and the Indian states were called as protected states. Okay, now let me make you understand this concept in a simple manner. Like for example, I am the representative of Marathas. Okay, now I have animosity with the Mughals. I have animosity with the Nizams. I have animosities with whom? I have animosity with the Mysore Sultanate. What will I do? I will accept subsidiary alliance system. In this system, what will happen? Britishers will provide me the protection. Hence, I would be called as the protected state. And what would be the company or Britishers called as? They would be called as, yes, paramount power. So, Britishers or the company was referred as paramount power. And those who accepted this system were referred as protected state. Now, those who accepted this system, they had to fulfill certain terms and conditions. And what were that conditions? Rulers will accept British resident in their state. It simply means that if suppose I have accepted the subsidiary alliance system, in my court there would be a British resident. Okay, I cannot enter into any treaty, any friendship with any other European power without the permission of the Britishers. It simply means what? I have to surrender my sovereignty. Isn't that so? I have completely surrendered my sovereignty to the Britishers because I cannot enter into any mutual friendship. I cannot enter into any treaty with any other European power without Britishers or without consulting Britishers. It simply means what? I don't have any independence to take my decisions. Yes, I was free to take care of the internal administration. That's it. Okay? Apart from this, who is going to pay for this British resident? I have to pay for this British resident. In simple words, if the British resident is kept in the court of a particular ruler, the ruler has to pay for the expenses of that British resident. Hundreds of kingdoms, I'm not saying 1, 2, 3, 4, hundreds of kingdoms accepted subsidiary alliance system. And the first to accept subsidiary alliance system was Nizam of Hyderabad. He accepted the subsidiary alliance system for the first time. After that, the rulers of Bundi, Mysore, Tanjore, Awadh, Peshwa, everyone accepted subsidiary alliance system. As discussed earlier, subsidiary alliance system was originally the idea of a French governor, Dupleix. Correct? Apart from this, if you talk about Lord Wellesley, it is believed that Lord Wellesley, a very important one, he started training the future civil servants at Fort William. Now pay attention carefully. Initially, the civil servants who were recruited, they were trained at Hailbury College in London. Now pay attention carefully, guys, very important concept. They were trained at Hailbury College in London. Now my first question to you guys, it's a logical question, okay. For example, now you guys, I'll give you a small example. Every one of you are aspiring to become an IAS officer and IPS officer, correct? Now you are given the examination in India, you gave your examination in India, you got selected in India, okay. But you are given the training particularly at a different place, or you are made to serve at a different place without any training, okay. What would be your administrative efficiency or effectiveness? Correct? Similarly, these civil servants who are recruited in London, they have to work in India, and they are rarely, they hardly have any idea about the grassroots realities of India, the sociological factors of India, the geography of India, the history of India. Correct? And they were being trained at Hailbury College in London. Their administrative efficiency and effectiveness was zero. Correct? So what did Lord Wellesley do? Rather than training the civil servants at Hailbury College in London, now these civil servants would be trained at Fort William to improve their administrative efficiency. Correct, guys? So this is majorly about Lord Wellesley. The most important point that you guys need to remember about Lord Wellesley was Anglo-Mysore War, 4th Anglo-Mysore War and 2nd Anglo-Maratha War took place during the tenure of Wellesley. It was nothing but surrendering one's sovereignty. Most important point, Lord Wellesley initiated subsidiary alliance system, which was originally the idea of a French governor, Dupleix. Under subsidiary alliance system, the Britishers or the company members were referred as the paramount power, and those who accepted the subsidiary alliance system were referred as protected state. The first to accept subsidiary alliance system was Nizam of Hyderabad, and he started training the future civil servants at Fort William College rather than Hailbury College in London. Clear, guys? Any query, any doubt, any question? Yes, please. Please feel free to ask. Okay. Yes, guys, please keep the session interactive. If you have any kind of doubt, please stop me there itself. I'll repeat it. Okay? Session is important one. Today we are going to discuss, we'll try and discuss till Lord William Bentinck, and tomorrow I'll be covering more Governor Generals. Now let's speak about Sir George Barlow. Guys, I'll tell you, Revolt of 1857. It is one of the major revolts of India. Okay? Many historians believe that it was the first war of independence. And Revolt of 1857, it majorly covered the northern part of India. True? But there are two major revolts which are hidden in the books of history. And one among them is Vellore Mutiny of 1806 and Barrackpur Mutiny of 1824. And these two are precursors to revolt of 1857. They occurred, this occurred in 1806. And Barrackpur Mutiny approximately occurred around 1824. Although they were not on a larger scale like revolt of 1857, but still they are precursor to what? They are precursor to revolt of 1857. And what is Vellore Mutiny all about? Let's explore. Okay. Vellore Mutiny, it took place during the time of Sir George Barlow. Beautiful one. Pay attention, guys. It took place during the time of Sir George Barlow. And at that time, in the region of Vellore, there were two commanding officers. One was Lord Hodown and the second one was Sir John Cradock. It's believed that these two officers passed foolish orders usually in the army there were Hindus and the Muslims. Like Hindus, they cannot apply tilak on the forehead. They cannot wear the caste marks. Like you might have observed that the Brahmins usually wear the sacred thread referred as Janeo. So Hindus cannot apply tilak on the forehead. Hindus cannot apply the caste marks. Muslims cannot wear the holy cap. Muslims compulsorily need to shave their chin. Such foolish orders were passed by two officers, Lord Hodown and Sir John Cradock. And when these orders were passed, the Indian soldiers felt that they were forcefully getting Christianized. Okay. So at that time, there was one of the sons of Tipu Sultan whose name was Fateh Haidar. Fateh Haidar provided the leadership base to the soldiers at that time. And the soldiers under the leadership of Fateh Haidar revolted against the Britishers at Vellore. The mutiny was suppressed within a day. And the mutiny was suppressed by a person named as Colonel Gillespie. It is believed that many soldiers were blown. What is blown? They were kept in front of the cannons and they were blown. It is believed that apart from this, many were shot dead. Some were hanged to death. Some were transported for life. And this event in the history of modern India is referred as Vellore Mutiny, which took place during the time of Sir George Barlow in 1806. Guys, there are many such incidences which are actually hidden in the books of history. You might have heard about many incidents, but I'll give you one of the examples about Bawan Imli episode. Have you heard about the Bawan Imli episode, guys, which took place during the time of revolt of 1857? Have you heard about this episode, Bawan Imli episode? I'll give you a small example, guys. You might have heard about what Nana Sahib Peshwaji, he played a very crucial role in the region of Kanpur during revolt of 1857. Rani Lakshmi Bai ji, she played a very major role in the region of Jhansi in the revolt of 1857. Tatya Tope ji in the region of Gwalior, Begum Hazrat Mahal ji in the region of Lucknow. But have you heard about one of the episodes called as Bawan Imli episode? It took place in Uttar Pradesh. And what is this? During revolt of 1857, Britishers had followed a very brutal policy of suppression. Very brutal policy of suppression. And to deter Indians and to teach a lesson to Indians, it is believed that 52 people were hanged to a tamarind tree in Uttar Pradesh. Around Fatehpur or Fatehabad, I had read this incident. 52 people, 52 persons were hanged to the tamarind tree for the next 37 days. Why? Because to deter Indians. So the people who passes by, he can observe these dead bodies. And if anyone tries to get the dead bodies down, he was also being hanged. And this episode is referred as Bawan Imli episode in the history of modern India. Correct? This rarely finds mention in the very few books of our history. Correct? And one such event is what we say Vellore Mutiny, which took place during the tenure of Sir George Barlow. Points are clear, guys? Any query, any doubt, any question? Yes, please. Yes, guys, any query? Now let's understand about Lord Minto 1. Please feel free to ask any doubt, guys. Okay. You can ask me in the comment section. Yes, for the students who are new to the platform, let me tell you one thing. You can download the PPT or you can download the PDF from my Telegram channel history_Alok Oja. Immediately after the session, I usually post the session's link, and by the evening, I post the PDF of the session. Okay? And Sampurna batch is going to start from 7th of March. You can avail the benefits of that batch. Okay, guys? You can go through the website and you can observe or you can see all the description of Sampurna batch in quite depth and detail. Okay, guys? So now let's begin with Lord Minto 1. Charter Act 1813. It was passed during the tenure of Lord Minto 1. Now, what is Charter Act 1813? As I've told you previously itself that we are going to have a separate session tomorrow on different charter acts or different acts. Okay. But let me give you a small example what all things took place during Charter Act 1813. So, Charter Act 1813, it came during the tenure of Lord Minto 1. First thing that occurred during the Charter Act 1813. As per Charter Act 1813, monopoly of English East India Company in India ended. Guys, I have used the word monopoly of English East India Company in India ended, but not completely. Okay? Still, English East India Company had monopoly over two things, tea and China. Who can trade in tea? English East India Company. Who can trade with China? English East India Company. So overall, the monopoly of English East India Company was ended, but not completely. As per Charter Act 1813, Christian missionaries were allowed to come in India and preach Christianity. And third important thing that you need to remember about Charter Act 1813 is, as per Charter Act 1813, it is the responsibility of English East India Company to spend rupees 1 lakh every year for the purpose of education. So, Charter Act 1813 came up during the time of Lord Minto 1. And what are the important clauses? 1 lakh rupees every year for the purpose of education. Christian missionaries were allowed to come in India and preach Christianity. And the third important one, monopoly of English East India Company was ended, but not completely. Monopoly was kept intact in tea and China. Tenure, Minto 1. Correct? Now, Treaty of Amritsar. Now, the Treaty of Amritsar at this time was signed with Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Now, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, he was one of the brave rulers of the Sikh Empire. He was one of the warriors and he was continuously expanding his territories. Now, why were Britishers forced to sign a Treaty of Amritsar with Maharaja Ranjit Singh? Or why a diplomatic move was taken by Britishers or English East India Company to sign a treaty with Maharaja Ranjit Singh? Let's explore. One of the tributaries of river Indus is river Satluj. And to north of river Satluj, majority of the territories belong to Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And to the south of river Satluj, majority of the territories belonged to English East India Company. And at that time, Maharaja Ranjit Singh ji, he was following a brutal policy of expansionism. He had conquered the region of Lahore. He had conquered the region of Amritsar. And now he had a plan to cross the river Satluj and conquer the territories to the south of river Satluj. And to the south of river Satluj, whose territories are present? English East India Company's territories are present. Okay? So what happened? At that time, Lord Minto I, he sent a company's officer whose name was Sir Charles Metcalfe to negotiate a treaty with Maharaja Ranjit Singh ji, or to sign a treaty of mutual friendship with Maharaja Ranjit Singh ji. But Maharaja Ranjit Singh ji, he denied. So what did Britishers do? As I have told you previously, they have always followed two major policies. One, divide and rule, and carrot and stick policy. So what did Britishers do? If Maharaja Ranjit Singh is not accepting this treaty, we should do one thing. Why shouldn't we make an alliance with small principal Sikh kingdom? Because at that time Maharaja Ranjit Singh ji was also defeating and acquiring the territories of small Sikh kingdoms. So English East India Company, headed by Lord Minto I at that time, they formed an alliance with small principal Sikh kingdom. And finally, Maharaja Ranjit Singh ji was forced to sign the Treaty of Amritsar with English East India Company. And at that time, the English East India Company's Governor General of Bengal was Lord Minto I. Got it? What are the important terms of this, treaty? The first major term was River Satluj. It acted as a boundary line between the territories of Maharaja Ranjit Singh and the territories of English East India Company. Okay? North of River Satluj, all the territories belong to Maharaja Ranjit Singh. That won't be encroached by Britishers. South of River Satluj, all the territories belong to English East India Company. Apart from this, places like Kashmir, Peshawar and Hazara, this won't be claimed by English East India Company. Maharaja Ranjit Singh can acquire these places. Okay? So, Treaty of Amritsar was signed between the forces of Maharaja Ranjit Singh ji and English East India Company represented by Lord Minto I. As per this treaty, River Satluj, one of the tributaries of River Indus, acted as a boundary line. North of River Satluj, all the territories belong to Maharaja Ranjit Singh. South of River Satluj, the territories belong to English East India Company. And no one is going to encroach upon each other's territories. English East India Company will not interfere in Kashmir, Peshawar and Hazara. Maharaja Ranjit Singh can acquire these places. So these all things occurred during the time of Lord Minto I. Got the points clear, guys? Any query, any doubt, any question, please let me know. Yes, guys. Any query, please feel free to ask, guys. Okay? Now let's speak about Lord Hastings. Please don't be confused, guys. Warren Hastings is a different personality. Hastings is a different personality. For the next 1 minute, let me go for a question and answer round so that I'll understand whether you are actually listening or not, guys. Okay. Now my first question to you guys is, Bhagavad Gita was translated into English during the tenure of which Governor General? Yes, guys, please answer in the comment section. Yes, Bhagavad Gita was translated into English during the tenure of which Governor General? Yes, fast. It was Lord Warren Hastings. And who translated it? It was translated by Sir Charles Wilkin. Okay? My second question to you guys. I'll be asking you 4 questions, guys. My second question. Which Governor General is also referred as blue-blooded aristocrat? Yes, guys. Please answer fast. Answer in the comment section. Which Governor General is also referred as blue-blooded aristocrat? We have discussed in quite depth and detail. I'll give you a small hint. He started Thana and Daroga system. He is also referred as father of civil services. Yes. Lord Cornwallis. Yes. Great, great. Yes, Pavan. Yes, Banutho. Great one. It's Lord Cornwallis. Third question mine. Who accepted subsidiary alliance system for the first time? I've told you subsidiary alliance system came during the time of Lord Wellesley. Who accepted it for the first time? Yes, guys. 30 seconds to answer. Answer fast, please. I'll check the answer in the comment section. Yes. Yes, guys. Fast, fast, fast. Boggle up your brains. Nizam of Hyderabad. He was the first to accept subsidiary alliance system. Very good, Banu. Very good, Banutho. Very good, Paman. Great. And my last question to you guys. Okay. Last question, then I'll come up with Lord Hastings. And the question is, Civil servants initially were trained at Hailbury College, London. Now they would be trained at Fort William College, that is in Calcutta. This step was taken by which Governor General? Yes, guys. This step was taken by which Governor General? Fast. Yes, guys. This step was taken by Lord Wellesley. Okay. Let's move on with Lord Hastings, another important one. Lord Hastings is also referred as Lord Moira. Now, two important events that needs to be remembered about Lord Hastings, and the first event is Treaty of Sagali and the Gurkha War. First Anglo-Gurkha War took place during the time of Lord Hastings. Now, Gurkhas, they were ruling on feudal basis in the region of Nepal. Correct? Gurkhas are the brave warriors, particularly around the region of certain region of Uttarakhand and certain regions of Nepal. Do you know that Gurkha regiment is one of the regiment of the Indian National Army? And initially Gurkha regiment was created by Lord Dalhousie. Do you know this fact? Lord Dalhousie, he created the Gurkha regiment. Correct? So Gurkhas, they were ruling on feudal basis in the region of Nepal. And when they were ruling on feudal basis, just a second, guys. And when they were ruling on feudal basis in the region of Nepal, they underestimated the power of English East India Company. And when they underestimated the power of English East India Company, what did they do? They started acquiring certain regions of Uttarakhand. And when they started acquiring certain regions of Uttarakhand, particularly the Kumaon, Gadwal and Tarai regions, what happened? At that time, Lord Hastings was the Governor General of Bengal. He immediately dispatched the forces. And when he dispatched the forces, it is believed that Gurkhas were contained and they lost. Gurkhas were forced to sign a treaty which is referred as Treaty of Sagali. Sagali, it's a village in Bihar. And as per this treaty, the Gurkhas had to surrender certain areas to the Britishers, English East India Company. Apart from this, they had to pay a war indemnity. Okay? Then, during the tenure of Lord Hastings, Pindaris became very active. Now, who are these Pindaris? Pindaris are band of plunderers. Many historians believe that Pindaris are also the debris of Mughal Empire. Many historians state that Pindaris were debris of Mughal Empire. Correct. So who are these Pindaris? They are band of plunderers. Now what happened? These Pindaris used to actually, they actually plundered the Britishers. They looted their weapons. They looted their money. Now one fine day, when the Pindaris were caught, Britishers came to know that, or the company came to know that, these Pindaris were being supported by the Marathas. Correct? So suppression of the Pindaris was actually an indirect war with Marathas. How? Because these Pindaris, later on after investigation and scrutiny, it was found that these Pindaris were being supported by the Marathas. And this culminated into Third Anglo-Maratha War. And finally, Peshwas were defeated at a place called as Khadi near Pune. Holkars, who were ruling in the region of Indore, were defeated at a place called as Mahidpur near Indore. And Bhosles were defeated at a place called as Sita Baldi near Nagpur. So in general, Third Anglo-Maratha War led to in general defeat of the Marathas. First vernacular newspaper at that time was Samachar Darpan. And the first vernacular newspaper came during the time of Lord Hastings. Okay. Then, Rayatwari system of land revenue. It came up during the time of Lord Hastings. Now, what is Rayatwari system of land revenue? While back in Lord Cornwallis, we had seen about Zamindari system, also referred as permanent settlement. And what did we see in Zamindari system? In Zamindari system, Zamindar acted as a middleman between company on one side and the peasants on the other side. Correct? Zamindar collected the revenue from the peasant, kept his commission and paid the excess amount to the company. 11% was kept by Zamindar, 89% was kept by the company. True? What is Rayatwari system? In Rayatwari system, role of Zamindar is ended. English East India Company is now directly going to collect the revenue from the peasants. And this settlement is called as Rayatwari system. The actual genesis of Rayatwari system can be dated back to medieval period. Okay, like I'll give you a small example. During the tenure of Sher Shah Suri, like the first Mughal emperor was Babur. Babur, it's a Persian word which basically means tiger. And he was succeeded by his son whose name was Humayun. It is believed that during the tenure or reign of Humayun, there was a political vacuum for 15 years, particularly from 1540 to 1555, because Humayun had fled out of India. And for the 15 years, there was one dynasty that was ruling over India, that was Sur dynasty, headed by Farid, also referred as Sher Khan or Sher Shah Suri. And Sher Shah Suri, he actually classified the land into 3 categories. Okay, good, average, barren. On fertile land, the taxes were very high. On the average land, the taxes were neither too high nor too low. And on the barren land, the taxes were very low. Later on, this system was adopted by Akbar, and Akbar classified the lands into 4 categories: Polaj, Parauti, Chachar and Banjar. Polaj means very fertile land, production throughout the year. Parauti, production once in a year. Chachar, production once in 2 years. And Banjar, what we say, it's a barren land. Correct? Later on, same system was adopted by Lord Hastings, and this system is called as Rayatwari system. Under this system, land was categorized into 3 major categories: good, average, barren. Taxes were very high. Can you imagine? As per Britishers, I am saying, as per Britishers, the taxes under Rayatwari system was very low. They were minimal taxes. And how low? As per Britishers, it was. On barren land, the average tax was 40 to 45%. Can you imagine? This is low as per Britishers. Correct? 40 to 45% was a tax on the barren land. 50 to 55% tax was there on, particularly if you see, the average land. And 60 to 66% was a tax on the fertile land. And these taxes are low as per Britishers. Imagine. Correct? Can you imagine how much money was drained out of India just in the name of taxes? Correct? And this system is called as Rayatwari system. And the genesis of the Rayatwari system we have seen in detail. All these things occurred during the time of Lord Hastings. Hastings, he was a patron of Hindu college. Okay? He was also patron of Hindu college. So let's understand. I'll repeat certain points about Lord Hastings. Lord Hastings is also referred as Lord Moira. Okay, he served as a Governor General for a tenure of approximately around 10 years, 8 to 10 years. First Anglo-Gurkha War occurred during his tenure, followed by Treaty of Sagoli. Third Anglo-Maratha War, and the major reason for the Anglo-Maratha War was the Pindaris. Who are the Pindaris? These are the band of plunderers who were being supported by whom? Marathas. So third Anglo-Maratha War, it took place during the time of Hastings. First vernacular newspaper was Samachar Darpan. Please do not get confused. It's Samachar Darpan, because many times questions come on the newspapers as well. Samachar is a different newspaper. Darpan is a different newspaper. And Samachar Darpan is also a different newspaper. Like you might have heard about paper called as New India, Young India. Both are different papers. Young India, it's of M.K. Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. And New India, it's of Annie Besant. So please do not get confused. Samachar Darpan was the first vernacular newspaper that came up during the time of Lord Hastings. Okay. And finally, Rayatwari system of land revenue. It came up during the time of Lord Hastings, particularly in the region of Madras Presidency and Bombay Presidency. Okay. One more important fact. Rayatwari system covered the maximum part of British India. It covered 51% of British India. Okay, as discussed earlier, correct, that Zamindari system or permanent settlement, it covered the least part of British India. And how much part did it cover? It covered 19% of British India. Rayatwari system covers 51% of British India. Points are clear, guys. Any query, any doubt, any question? Yes, please let me know. Are the points clear? Now let's understand about Lord Amherst. Another important one. Just a while back, we discussed one mutiny, that is Vellore Mutiny of 1806. And I've told you one sentence that Vellore Mutiny of 1806 and Barrackpur Mutiny of 1824 are the precursors to Revolt of 1857. True, but they were not like it is believed that they were not on a major scale like Revolt of 1857. True. Vellore Mutiny of 1806, it took place during the tenure of Sir George Barlow. We have just seen a while back. And this one, Barrackpur Mutiny, it took place during the time of Lord Amherst around 1824. So what is Barrackpur Mutiny? What is First Anglo-Burma War? Let's explore. Burma, Myanmar, it had underestimated the power of English East India Company in India. And when they underestimated the power of English East India Company in India, what did they do? Burma, they initially thought that they will capture the region of Siam. Siam means Thailand. But Thailand or Siam was a very good friend of China. So what did Burma do? Burma dropped the plan of capturing Siam. Now they moved towards the region of northeastern part of India. They moved towards Andaman Nicobar. So now they captured certain parts of Manipur, they captured certain parts of Assam. And at that time, it is believed that Lord Amherst was the Governor General of Bengal. As soon as these people, they captured certain parts of northeastern India, the Burmese, they captured northeastern part of India, Lord Amherst dispatched the forces by land route as well as by sea route. Both the routes. Okay. And when he dispatched the forces by land and sea route, immediately the Burma had to face retreat. And when Burma had to face retreat, it is believed that a treaty was signed with Burma, which is referred as Treaty of Yendabu. And what is Treaty of Yendabu? Why it is referred as Yendabu? Because Yendabu, it's a name of a village in Burma, in Myanmar. As per this treaty, Burma had to pay a war indemnity to the Britishers. First thing. Second thing, upper part of Burma was conquered by English East India Company. And this is referred as First Anglo-Burma War, followed by Treaty of Yendabu, which occurred during the tenure of Lord Amherst. Now, Barrackpur Mutiny is the result of First Anglo-Burma War. Now the question arrives in the mind of an aspirant, how is Barrackpur Mutiny co-linked or correlated to the First Anglo-Burma War? I have just told you one thing, guys. When Burma, they captured northeastern part of India, and then when they were heading towards Bengal, immediately the forces were being dispatched by whom? Lord Amherst. And I've told you, the forces were dispatched by land route as well as sea route. Correct? At that time, in the British army, there were many Brahmins. And for Brahmins, crossing the sea means losing the caste. Correct? It was believed that if you cross the sea, you would be outcasted by your own caste. Correct? And they called this as Kala Pani. And now on the instructions of Lord Amherst, the Hindus, particularly the Brahmins, they had to cross the sea to contain the Burma. Finally, after this, what we say, signing a treaty of Yendabu with the Burmese army, it is believed that the Hindus, particularly in the region of Barrackpur, they revolted against the Britishers. They revolted under the leadership of a person whose name was Binda. It is believed that more than 200 soldiers, they were being killed by Sir Edward Peggott. I repeat, more than 200 soldiers were being killed by Sir Edward Peggott. Why? Because they revolted against the Britishers under the leadership of Binda. It is believed that Baba Binda was hanged to a peepal tree. And today, At the place where Baba Binda was hanged, there is a temple dedicated to Lord Hanuman. And there's a temple which is referred as Baba Binda Mandir. And the Baba Binda Mandir is dedicated to whom? Lord Hanuman. And this entire episode in the history of modern India is referred as Barakpur Mutiny, which took place during the tenure of Lord Amherst. Correct? Hence it is said that Vellore Mutiny of 1806 and Barakpur Mutiny of 1824 are the precursors to Revolt of 1857. Points are clear, guys. Any query, any doubt, any sort of question, please feel free to ask. Okay, now I'll move with Lord William Bentinck. Today is last, and tomorrow I'll be covering up with 3 to 4 important Governor Generals. Tomorrow's session is also very important because Lord Dalhousie, everyone know one thing about Lord Dalhousie, doctrine of lapse system. But what is non-regulation system? What is guarantee system? All these systems were initiated by Lord Dalhousie. And tomorrow we are going to have an in-depth look into these aspects. Okay. So now let's begin with Lord William Bentinck. For the next 5 minutes, the session is of just more 5 to 7 minutes. So pay attention keenly, guys. Okay. Lord William Bentinck. As I've told you guys, there were 3 major presidencies. Bengal, Bombay and Madras. And there were respective governors for every presidency. Like there was a governor of Bombay, there was a governor of Madras, but the governor of Bengal was designated as Governor General of Bengal. Later in the coming years, there was an act which is referred as Charter Act 1833. And as per Charter Act 1833, Governor General of Bengal was now designated as Governor General of India. The first Governor General of India was Lord William Bentinck. Okay. And when William Bentinck, he became the Governor General, he observed that the exchequer was already running into losses of 1 million, approximately 10 lakh rupees. So what did this person do? He immediately, like it is believed that he halved the salary of everyone. Correct? He halved the salaries of everyone. Apart from this, he abolished double batta system, which is also referred as foreign service allowance. Now, what is double batta system? Suppose I am a soldier who is recruited into the Bengal army. Now, it's my duty to serve anywhere in India. But Britishers are fighting war with everyone. They are also fighting with French East India Company, correct? The war between Britain and France is referred as a global war. Why it's referred as a global war? Because for the expansionism or in search of new colonies, they are fighting everywhere. North America, Southeast Asia, Asia, India, Europe, everywhere they are fighting. So what will happen? I am also placed at different places to wage a war against the France. I am not only performing my duty in India as a soldier. Like Britishers will send me anywhere across the world. So if Britishers are sending me at different places to fight a battle, they were giving me certain incentive. And these incentives were referred as foreign service allowance or double batta system. And when William Bentinck, he became the Governor General, he observed that exchequer was already running into losses of 1 million. So what did he do? He abolished the double batta system, or referred as what we say foreign service allowance. At that time, Renaissance movement was about to begin. And Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who has also worked as a munshi or registrar for the company for many years, okay, now he was campaigning against a system called as Sati at that time. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, he is also called as pioneer of journalism. He is also called as a bridge between the past and the future. He is also called as the father of Bengal Renaissance. He is also called as the father of Indian Renaissance. And at that time, Raja Ram Mohan Roy ji, he was campaigning against Sati system prevalent in the region of Bengal. And finally, with the efforts of Raja Ram Mohan Roy ji, okay, it is believed that with the efforts of Raja Ram Mohan Roy ji, it is believed that Sati was banned in the entire region of Bengal. I repeat, sati was banned in the entire region of Bengal on 4th December 1829 during the time of Lord William Bentinck. Okay, another important. Thuggi and Dakaiti Department, very important one, was started by Lord William Bentinck. Now, who are these thugs? It is believed that in the northern part of Madhya Pradesh, particularly around the region of Chambal, there were different thugs who used to attack the British post. They used to occupy the British, they used to attack the British treasury. Okay, apart from this, they used to seize the British weapons. So to contain them, William Bentinck came up with Thuggi and Dakaiti Department. And Thuggi and Dakaiti Department was placed under a officer whose name was William Henry Sleeman. Okay, so what did William Henry Sleeman do? William Henry Sleeman, he created a special department which is called as he started a special program called as King's Evidence Program. Under this program, the thugs were caught, and when the thugs were caught, it is believed that a special jail was created for these thugs at Jabalpur in MP. Okay, and this is referred as Thuggi and Dakaiti Department. A beautiful role was played by Henry William Sleeman in suppressing the thugs at that time. Even today, there is a village named as Sleemanabad in northern part of Madhya Pradesh in the name of Henry William Sleeman. Okay, now William Bentinck was one of the persons, particularly, okay, he was one of the persons who had sensed what he had sensed about the Russian threat. Now, Russia was majorly ruled by Tsar dynasty, and they were also following a policy of expansionism. Russia had acquired the region of Central Asia and they had moved towards the region of Afghanistan. Okay, probably Russia might have an eye over India. So during the time of William Bentinck, what happened? William Bentinck, he wanted to keep an eye over the Russians. So what did he do? He signed a Indus Navigation Treaty with whom? Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And as per Indus Navigation Treaty, it is believed that river Satluj was made navigable. For what purpose? So that English East India Company can keep an eye over the Russia, who was sitting on the top of Afghanistan at that time. Correct? So, William Bentinck was the first Governor General to realize the potential Russian threat. Okay? Please note down the key points about William Bentinck. He is the first Governor General of India. He abolished sati on 4 December 1829. He halved the salary. Apart from this, he cancelled the double batta system or foreign service allowances. He was the first to realize the Russian threat. He initiated Thuggi and Dakaiti Department under William Henry Sleeman. So this is majorly about, and he is the first Governor General of India as per Charter Act 1833. Like, this is all about the important Governor Generals for today. Guys, please keep on revising the concept. Tomorrow we are going to discuss about Lord Dalhousie, Lord Hardinge, Lord Auckland and many other Governor Generals apart from important Charter Acts. So tomorrow's session again would be very important one. Okay, guys, as I have told you about the Sampurna batch previously, this batch is majorly going to start from 7th of March. Entire coverage from prelims to the interview stage. Apart from this, there's a prelims and the mains residential program. Under residential program, like I'll give you a small example. Suppose if you're surrounded by like-minded people, correct, or if you're surrounded by students who are also preparing for civil services, it can have a huge impact on your preparation. How? It will improve your competence and competitiveness. Okay, once you clear the prelims, the full fees would be refunded to you. One of the beautiful part of this program. Okay, 11,000 rewards to monthly top performers. Getting the points clear? And apart from this, there's an interview guidance program. The batches will begin very soon on 7th of March, 6 p.m. So please avail the benefits of this. Hope so today's session was interesting. Hope so you understood things. Please keep on revising the concepts. You can avail the benefits of this batch by using my code ALOKLIVE. Okay? Any query, any question, any doubt, guys, please let me know. Yes? So hope so session was interesting. Please keep on revising the concept because the concepts are very important. Works done by different Governor Generals, books written by them and so on. With this, I stop my words for the day, guys. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. sharp.